we are discussing the concept of the hardware single step circuit. Usually when we want to test 8086/8088 based system, the usual equipment that is required to check is basically very expensive. You need very expensive logic analyzers, to check the processing system. Remember, we drew the read timing diagram and the write timing diagram. So you need to analyze signals like the read timing diagram and the write timing diagram in order to see whether the processor is working properly. And for that thing you need very expensive oscilloscope type arrangements which are called logic analyzers. Your oscilloscopes have only 2 channels, but these logic analyzers have hundreds of channels. So it is very expensive equipment. So we have this brilliant idea of the hardware single step circuit which allows us to troubleshoot the 8086/8088 using inexpensive multimeters. The beauty is that it is such a great technique that you can use an expensive, very less costly multimeter in order to troubleshoot a full processor based system. And how is this possible? This is based on the concept of the wait states, or TW. And in wait states, basically what happens is that the computer is stopped, the 8086 and 8088 is stopped using the concept of the wait states, so that we can analyze the signals, the level of the signals, either 1 or 0, using the particular multimeter. Remember students, we told that basically when the processor enters the wait state. So how does the processor enter the wait state? We analyze that at the end of T2, the processor samples the ready line. And if the ready line is 0 at that point, the processor enters the wait state instead of going to T3. And the processor would remain in wait state until ready becomes 1. So the moment ready becomes 1, the processor moves from the wait state to T3 and then to T4 to complete the cycle. So what this hardware single step circuit actually does is that it makes ready line 0 at the end of T2, so that the processor enters the wait state, and once in the wait state, processor is just waiting, and all the bus signals are at the same polarities or the same signal levels as they were at the end of T2. तो जो भी T2 के end पे signals की सूरत हाल होती है, basically that position, the position of the signals at the end of the T2 is preserved, and the programmer and the designer can check with the hardware multimeter and see whether the signals are as expected. So if the signals are as expected, then we say that the processor is working properly, and that is the concept of the hardware single step circuit. So of course, if we want to make the processor stop, and we enter in the wait state, and when we are done troubleshooting, we pull the ready line 1 so that the processor can go to T3 and T4 to complete the exercise. So this very powerful idea is made very simple with this hardware single step circuit. And the hardware single step circuit consists of very simple parts, so it is very inexpensive to make as well. So we have the very much benefit of using the hardware single step circuit as an inexpensive method of troubleshooting a processor based system. So now this NAND gate G1 is very important, because the output of this NAND gate G1 is basically the ready line. It is connected to the ready line of the 8086/8088. So if this line is 0, processor would enter the wait state and stop, and if this line is 1, the processor would continue at full speed. So basically, if we close this switch S1, this logic over here becomes 0, and now since this logic over here is 0, the output of the ready line is fixed at 1. The output of G1 is always 1 irrespective of this particular input of the G1 gate. So if we want to run the processor at full speed without wait state, we close this switch S1, and when we close this switch S1, the processor can proceed at full speed without ever entering the wait state. So first let me erase it so that we can now see how we would be working with the wait states. So now if we want to have the wait states in the system, we open the switch S1, and when we open the switch S1, this input becomes 1. Now the output of G1 or the ready line would be based on this particular output of this flip-flop 74LS74. Now what would happen that in T1 this ALE would become 1. So when this ALE becomes 1 in T1, both inputs would become 1, and this output of G2 would become 0, which would preset or set the Q output of the flip-flop to be 1. Now both inputs of G1 is 1, so the output of G1 is 0, ready line becomes 0. So in T2, the processor enters the wait state. And now we know the processor is in the wait state, so the processor is waiting. All the signals are held at the previous position. So now the designer can easily take the multimeter and check the logic levels or voltage levels of this address bus, data bus and control bus to verify whether the proper values are there or not. So once the designer is done checking those particular values, the designer pushes this switch, and when the designer pushes this switch, the clock is generated, clock edge is generated, and when the clock edge is generated, this D input, which was 0, is logged to the Q output of the flip-flop. So this input of G1 becomes 0. So now this input was 1 and this is 0, which means the output of the ready line becomes 1. So the moment user has pressed this switch, the ready line becomes 1 and the processor leaves the wait state, goes to T3, goes to T4, completes the current bus cycle, and then again in the next bus cycle in T1 the same thing happens. ALE becomes 1, and when ALE becomes 1, this G2 output becomes 0, and because of this preset input becomes 0, which sets this flip-flop again, and again this is 1 and this is 1. So again the output becomes, ready line becomes 0. So the processor stops in the next bus cycle after T2, and the processor again stops in the wait state. So the next bus cycle the processor is stopped and the designer can check the signals again in the next bus cycle. So when the programmer has or the system designer has verified the next bus cycle, then again the designer can press this particular switch again, which would again generate this clock signal, and this 0 would be output over here as previously, and ready line would again become 1 and the processor would come again out of this current bus cycle and would be stopped at the next bus cycle. So this is basically a brief working of the hardware single step circuit. again a very important point, if you want to even reduce the cost of the system, we have this another good technique that we can pull the ready line low directly by grounding it. That is, we ground the ready line and we turn on our 8086/8088 system. So the processor would start in the first bus cycle, and after T2 of the first bus cycle, since ready line is low, the processor would stop in the first bus cycle only. So this circuit, which is again even simpler than this hardware single step circuit, can stop the processor in the first bus cycle so that the system can be troubleshooted. So what is the benefit of the hardware single step circuit? Hardware single step circuit can stop at all bus cycles of the system, but this circuit that we have designed can only stop the processor in the current or the first bus cycle only of the system. So that was some points about the hardware single step circuit.